let's go right into the news. So Sony Alpha Rumor just posted this information about the Sony ZV1 Mark II, and this information pretty much confirms everything that I mentioned in my past video. If you missed it, you can check it right here. Let's start with the lens. Sony Alpha Rumors is stating in this new revelation, and this has become kind of like a norm, that the Sony ZV1 Mark II is going to have a wider lens. Now, this lens is not going to be 16 millimeters to 50 or 55 like I mentioned in my prior video, but instead it's going to be an 18 millimeter to 70. Now, they don't mention anything about the aperture, and I am assuming that because of the wide range of focal length, this camera is going to be probably an f2.8. Now, f2.8 in a 1-inch sensor is nothing to brag about. It's not going to give you the utmost background separation, especially at the 18, and it's not going to give you the best low light performance. But that's what the camera is going to have. One of the reasons why I think Sony had to redesign a new lens is because of the point number 2 that they're making, which we also mentioned in the video, is that this camera is going to be loaded with a bunch of AI features, just like the Sony ZV1. I'm not going to repeat all the features because by now you probably know them all and you probably watched all the videos. But one of the features that had forced Sony to make a wider lens is the dynamic image stabilization. And I don't think that they have done a wider lens because people were unhappy with the 24 to 70 from the prior version. They have done it because it is required to actually counteract the insane crop that you get with the dynamic image stabilization. Now you remember this, the camera is going to have IBIS, mechanical IBIS. It is also going to have the active image stabilization. It is also going to have the dynamic image stabilization. And every time that I'm talking about a stabilization mode, the camera crops even more. Now, the third point that Sony Alpha Rumors is making in this statement is that the camera is going to be at around $1,000. Once again, something that I mentioned in my prior video, actually in the comments, because I forgot to mention that in the video, but the price that I estimated this camera is going to be at is specifically $995 with 95 cents. So, it's not the cheaper end camera that we were expecting, but Sony is going to raise the price. Now, this may be a caveat for a lot of you guys. It is kind of like a caveat for myself, but you got to look at this other way. Sony is going to be delivering probably the smallest 10-bit camera that can do 4K at least up to 60p, because that is one of the biggest rumors that this camera is going to do 4K at 10-bit color 422. Now, if the camera does that, you could actually now use this little camera as a BC cam, a camera that you take every day wherever you go, a camera that's going to give you, among good light situation, great color grading capabilities. And this is one of the reasons why I think I'm considering this camera is the 10-bit color 422 or even 420, for all I care. Being able to grade, footage from it's such a tiny little camera. So now that excites me a lot. The price doesn't. But let me know in the comments down below, what do you think about the price of the camera? Now, the last thing that I want to talk about is battery life, because what I mentioned in my video is that this camera is due to have some sort of larger battery. And one of the batteries that I would like to see in this camera, in the ZV1 Mark II, is kind of like the mini battery from the older APS-C cameras. That is about 2.5 times the battery range of this tiny little camera. Now, I think that this feature is kind of like needed in this camera, especially because this camera is going to be power hungry with all these brand new features that Sony is releasing and a brand new processor, I'm assuming. So if Sony gives us that battery that's a little bit larger, that also can lead for the camera to have a more comfortable grip, which is one of the things that also, some people are not happy with a ZV1 Mark I. So let me know in the comments down below, guys, what do you think about the Sony ZV1? What do you think about the price? Would you actually pay $1,000 for this camera? Let me know in the comments down below. And until then, I'll see you in the next video.